All right, welcome everybody. So this is our Thursday Zoom class. Thank you for joining us today. So I am Kelley. I'm the plant-based Kitchenista if you haven't met me before, but you can usually see me here every 2 weeks. This is a back-to-back because I've got a show next week and stuff with Chef AJ, and it's hard to do the Thursday, Friday back-to-back. So I moved it up by 1 week. So thank you for joining us. And then let's see. So we are plant-based, no oil, of course. So we saute with vegetable broth, stock, water, or use a little bit of white wine and stuff if you're doing something like a tomato sauce. We are, like I said, do these every 2 weeks. Tonight, and I'll introduce you to Jerry here in a second. Tonight, we're going to do a barbecue sandwich. So it's getting close to the 4th of July. So we're like maybe 10 days away, something like that, maybe even less. So we're going to do a barbecue sandwich that has a pineapple relish on it, which is really good and beautiful. And one of the things with the pineapple relish is you could keep it in the refrigerator and not use it on the sandwich if you wanted to, and then just use it, with dipping, vegetables or chips or all kinds of good stuff in that. So even though you're going to make quite a bit of it and you may not use it all on the sandwiches, you can always use it on everything else. Could be great in a salad, all kinds of different things. And just, pretty, anytime you have like a really pretty dish that has like fruit and things in it, especially if you're going to any 4th of July, popular. So we're gonna do that. And then, like I said, we're gonna make a barbecue sauce. So we're gonna make it all, all from scratch, which is all good, except for the tofu, because it comes by itself. And then we're gonna do plant-based onion rings. So Jerry and I used to go out a lot. And when we went out and stuff, onion rings, like the stack of onion rings was always one of our favorites. But of course, what do? They fry everything. So, we haven't had onion rings in years. And so we've been making this plant-based onion rings, and then, spicing it up a little bit different and that type of thing, different sauces that you can put in it. But it's really good. They're easy. They're not hard to make. And it's one of those things that if you, used to, I remember like when our family and stuff, we'd go to the A&W. So it was a drive-in as kids, and, they'd get like, which is not the healthiest thing in the world, I agree with that. But, you get the big mugs of A&W root beer. And then my dad would always order like French fries and onion rings. Granted, like I said, at 7 o'clock at night, not good for the rear ends or hips or anything else, but that was something we did. And so it's always one of those things that childhood memories, that type of thing that you think, ooh, onion rings, gosh, those would be great. And I wish, if you go buy them in the stores and that they all have oil in them and all that. So this is a good way to make these. And then, like I said, make them different flavors the way that you want, or add different sauces, honey mustards, ketchup, all kinds of fun stuff. So this is a really good thing for 4th of July, but it also is a good thing for Monday through Friday. Doesn't matter. So all good. All right. So I'll have Jerry introduce himself, and then we're going to get cooking. We'll see what stories he has for us today.
Let's see. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Casados. If you haven't met me before, I'm a plant-based nutritionist. Been plant-based, have a private practice 12 years now. Amazing. We've been plant-based now 17 years. I did it for health reasons. You haven't heard my story. Went and saw Dr. John McDougall, who got me off all my meds, reversing heart disease. Plaque was building up. No medications, all medications. So it's good, 35 pounds lighter. So anyway, he was my hero, and I teach his program too, the Start Solution program, if you're interested. Any questions about that, I'd be glad to answer. Go to my website or contact information in the chat window. And let's pass on some good plant-based news that just came out a couple of weeks ago. You haven't heard Dr. Dean Ornish. If you've heard of him, he's been around a while. He's one of the first ones to do heart study with reversing heart disease in the 90s, hard to believe. But anyway, he's just finished a study with Alzheimer's patients, early dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And it's 51 patients, all with early dementia and Alzheimer's early stages. And the results were amazing after that. The most of them had got their cognition and function back. And I saw interviews with them. A lot of them are just, before the lifestyle change, of course, what we propose is lifestyle change, moving, plant-based diet, exercise, and, love and support, all that community stuff. But anyway, it's amazing results. So there's some hope out there. What's good for the heart, it's good for the brain. That's the way I look at it. So eat your plants and hopefully age a lot longer. But other than that, that's all neat. And Kelley, do the cooking.
All right. Baking sheet. So baking sheets lined with parchment paper, or you can use the silk pad, or you can use anything that you want. I tend to use the parchment paper because it's easy to throw on it. Once I'm done, I can throw it away. And if I use the sill pads and stuff, I have to wash them. So I always look for what's easier. So like I said, I tend to use the parchment paper because it just makes it fast. So we're gonna do tofu first because we need to get that in the oven. So we've got, 2 different degrees of oven. So I kind of put it right in the middle. We've got 375 that's going to be for the tofu. And then we've got 450, which is for the onion rings. So the onion rings are, they cook pretty quick. So I put it right at that 425. So I'm going to have to definitely watch the tofu, make sure I don't burn it. But the tofu, it's just a regular firm tofu that you have. It's drained, and I just put it on paper towels and stuff at the night before in a glass dish. So it's, it's a little bit damp and stuff, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice it really thin. So you can either slice it, lengthwise or crosswise, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do it the smaller. So instead of going across this way, I'm going to go down this way for just making it that way. But you could do it in like sticks. You could do it in little chunks, however you want to do it. I'm just going to put them that's why I brought the parchment paper over. So as I get them sliced, I can just put them right on the parchment paper. So the tofu is just going to go in and it's going to bake. So it's going to give you that nice kind of the mouth chew. And then we're going to, oops, wasn't paying attention. Then we're going to put the barbecue sauce almost at the very end. If you don't like tofu, and I know that there's people out there that don't like tofu, then, something like this, pop these up a little bit, something like this, you could also do eggplant. That would be another fun way. So barbecue eggplant, which would be very yummy. What was that, Jared? You could use jackfruit. I have jackfruit I always have jackfruit that's in the freezer because I end up not using the big packs of jackfruit that I buy. So I always have jackfruit in there. I like it better when it's more of kind of a packaged jackfruit. So more where it doesn't have as much moisture in it. That's not in the cans, because the cans to me tend to taste a little brighty. Let's get these sliced up. All right, one last piece. I'll just put the 2 little pieces off the side because you can use it for something else. All right. So just tofu ready to go in. You could salt and pepper it if you want, but since we're going to put like more of a spicy barbecue sauce, I'm not going to do anything until the very end. So I'll get this in. All right, round 1 done. All right, let's get the relish going. So the relish is going to have, so if you're looking at the ingredients, we've got a little bit of vegetable broth. If you don't have vegetable broth or stock, just use water. About a tablespoon, a little bit of that. Then we're going to put the pineapple in. So the pineapple is just bite-sized pieces. So I already sliced it up just so, from a whole pineapple. Really good, very sweet, really nice. Put that in. You could also switch this up if you wanted to, because there's all kinds of things in here. So the pineapple's got a real nice citrusy, but you could put in oranges. You could put in, like when peaches happen, you could put in strawberries. You could mix in some grapes if you wanted to. There's just like any fruit that you want. Be really good. Mango would be another one. So you could add fresh pieces of mango at the very end. All right, so we're gonna get that going. All right, the barbecue sauce, as we're letting that saute, let me grab my pan and I put it over here. So barbecue sauce is got 1 cup of ketchup. A bigger spoon. So you can use, regular ketchup, has a little bit of sugar and those type of things in it. You can use the Amy's organic. I mean, there's so many different types of ketchup out there versus just the Heinz of the way it used to be. Okay, so we've got the cup of ketchup. We've got a quarter cup of date paste. I have the actual date syrup, so I put that in. Sticky mess. Then we've got a quarter cup of apple cider vinegar. Gives you that nice umami. Then we've got a teaspoon, so ground mustard. So I thought I have ground mustard. I always have ground mustard in my spices. Did not have ground mustard. So that is on my shopping list and stuff this weekend to buy that plus some extra. So I'm just using regular mustard. So instead of using, we said that we were going to use, let's see, where that 2 teaspoons of ground mustard. I'm actually using 2 teaspoons of just yellow mustard. But you could also put in like stone ground mustard, Dijon, whatever you want. But usually when you'll see people doing like barbecue sauces and things that are on the, like the Food Network, you usually see the yellow mustard. So just stuck with the plain old yellow mustard. Then we've got a teaspoon of vegan Worcestershire. So Amy's brand's good. If you've got a Kroger has a brand stuff that doesn't have any anchovies or any bad things in it, which is really nice. And it's a lot cheaper than Amy's too. Okay, we've got that in there. So we've got the apple cider, we got the Worcestershire. I've got a half a teaspoon of hot sauce. So just regular old hot sauce, any of your favorite flavors. You could do Tabasco, whatever you like. If you don't want hot, leave it out. It's going to give it just a nice little flavor with that. Then we've got the mustard in there. So I've got a teaspoon of smoked paprika. So it's a sweet, spicy smoked paprika. And then I got a teaspoon of onion powder and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And because it was in the fridge last night, I'm gonna need a little help. Push it up a little bit. Smells good. You can smell the pineapple. You could also, if you have a grill, you could grill it, which would be really pretty too. All right, and then we've got everything. We've got sea salt if you want. I don't cook with sea salt. I'm like Chef AJ and stuff. I do like salt, so I always put it on the table. So if I want Jerry doesn't like salt, but if I want salt, I can actually put it on there. Not a problem. But as far as like putting in ingredients and stuff and cooking with it, no, I don't. I just use all kinds of other spices. But then it's also good for food addictions. Chef AJ talks about that a lot, which we all love Chef AJ, but talks about it. If you eat something that's really salty or something that's really sweet and you eat a lot of it, and the next day it's almost like, I know I do, I crave it. It's like the next day, almost exact same minute and time and stuff. I want something that's either salt or sweet. And it's also sometimes it's both. And it's like after you eat like popcorn or something, then I get that craving. So that's really good. But it's also, some people just can't, with the heart disease and things like that, salt's not good for them. So a lot of reasons why you don't need the salt, but I do like a little taste of salt, like on the baked potato or those type of ingredients. All right, let me put that there, and then I'll just use the whisk. And then we're just going to put it on the back burner just to heat it up. We'll do a quick taste of it really quick. So taste profile. A little bit of a kick because it's got the Tabasco in it, but it's definitely a barbecue sauce, not a little bit of sweet, but not that, like the really sweet kind of almost syrupy barbecue sauce. I would say it's more on like the mid-range and stuff, because that Tabasco that's in there or any type of hot sauce that you're going to put in there is going to give it just that little tiny bit of a kick, but more of that smoky flavor. If you wanted to make it even smokier, you could add a little bit of the liquid smoke, and that would give it some of the smoky flavor, but truthfully, doesn't need it. Really good, bright, beautiful, has all the sauces and the spices and everything else in there. So we are going to put that on the back burner here and just put it on really, really low. That to the side. All right, so you're going to cook your pineapple until it's al dente. So you want to make sure that, it's really nice and soft, because you are going to put it on the sandwich. And so if you're trying to bite into a piece of pineapple that maybe is not real soft, not so good. I probably did this pineapple and stuff in like bite-sized pieces, but once I get it soft here, the al dente, then what I'll do is I'll let it cool a little bit, and then I'll come back in and just do another rough chop. That way you don't have the big chunks on the sandwich unless you have a really big, like a big like sub roll or something like that, then you could leave it chunky. So if you don't want to have to cut it afterwards, cut it really small before. That would be good over soy ice cream. Sweet, the sweetness is coming out. Nice. Cook for a little bit longer there. All right, so to get the ingredients ready, so we have the pineapple in here. Then we're going to do shallots. So shallots or red onion, whichever you have, or if you don't have either one of those, then just use your white, your white or your yellow or your sweet potato, whatever you want to do. Shallots tend to be a little bit less of an onion flavor, but truthfully, I like onions. I love garlic, so adding both of those in and adding just regular onions, I'm good. But I had shallots and I didn't want them to go to waste, so definitely use those today. So I got shallots. So I've got, if we're looking at everything, I have 1.5 cups of diced pineapple. I have 1/2 cup of shallots or red onion. I have 1/4 cup of minced red bell pepper. So you're going to have that bright, vibrant red bell pepper. Then I have a jalapeno or serrano. Serrano is going to be very hot. If you want something mild, take all your seeds out of your jalapeno and then chop that up. That's really good. If you don't want any heat, mix the jalapenos. Then we're going to have 2 cloves of garlic. Then we're going to have lime. So juice. So it'll be, we're going to actually do some of the lime zest, and then we're going to actually juice the lime. So speaking of juicing the lime, let's grab our juicer, even though we can do it by hand. It's kind of nice to use that. And then the last thing, which I am not a fan of, and Jerry says he doesn't have the gene. He's like, as I said it last time and stuff, is cilantro. So I didn't want to go buy a whole nother bunch of cilantro because we'd end up using like 2 little pieces, and then the rest of it would go to waste because we're not a cilantro family. So I have dried cilantro. So I'm going to use that. You could also get like cilantro that's in tubes that you could use. I didn't want a bunch of cilantro flavor, so we're using the dried. All right, pineapple. You'll see where it's starting to get really soft. That's really good. You don't want it to go too soft because then you just get mush. So this is going to go in a dish. I'm going to let it cool a little bit. And then we're going to pull it back out and we will actually do a rough chop on it. Beautiful. And really good. So you could saute it up like that. You could do it hot over, all kinds of different things, all kinds of, breads with like cashew cheeses, all kinds of things like that. Or you could let it cool and the next day and stuff, put it over a whole bunch of ice cream or make a banana split or who knows. Really good. Very nice and sweet, which I really like. Okay, so in this pan, so we've got everything going. So we're going to do a little bit more vegetable broth. Still have a little bit of that juice in there left over from the pineapple. Then we got the shallots. Nice minced. All right, we've got the red bell peppers, so 1/4 cup. If you don't have red, you could also substitute in not so much green because the green's going to change the flavor profile. I can't even talk today. Flavor profile. So you definitely don't, I would say not the green unless you are a big fan of green. And then otherwise I would do probably the orange or the yellow, or you could do the sweet little mini bell peppers and chat all the colors. All right. Jalapeno. I'm not going to add all of it. I'm going to add some more I can. So it's almost like it's like your Trinity, your pretty colors. Then I'm going to add the garlic. Very pretty. Smells great. Tofu. Looking good. We're gonna get the onion rings going. So while that's cooking, so I'm also gonna do a little bit of ginger. So our ginger that we're gonna add is, let me look how much we were gonna add. So I got a teaspoon of minced ginger. This just came out of the freezer. So as you'll notice, as I break a piece off, you'll notice some stuff that I'm not pulling off the skin or anything else with it. I'm just grating it up. If you do get the skin like that, it'll come off a little bit like that. Just throw it to the side and keep going. Once you're done, throw it back in the freezer. That way you always have fresh ginger and you don't have little pieces of ginger that are left over. Let me just get this quick rinse. Lime, and then we're gonna get cooking on the onion rings. All right, a little bit of lime zest. Smells good. Fresh. If you don't want to go buy a lime, you can just use lime juice. That works too. It gets dry because I do have it turned down a little bit. I have it on medium high. Just a little more vegetable broth or water. And then we have the juice. And 1 lime. 1/2 done. Another half done. Good. You can flip the tofu halfway through, but since we've done a really thin slice on it, I'm not going to. I'm going to let it just keep browning. And then I'm going to add the barbecue sauce to it in here in a minute. And then the good thing about, because you can think about if you wanted to put the barbecue sauce on it front, it's going to burn around the edges a lot really fast because it has the sugar in it. So, so it's like like the date syrup and all those kind of things. So it will crystallize and burn. So that's why you want to put it on towards the very end, and that way you can get it where it's nice and covered of your tofu or anything else like your like shish kebabs and those kind of things. Put it on the very end. Otherwise, like I said, things burn and it burns on your grill. So just a quick little tip trick. Like the ginger, throw it in the freezer. All right, get that out of the way. Yeah, cilantro. Just a little bit. If you like cilantro, this is where you cut up the whole bunch and throw it in. Okay. Okay, so so your onions are al dente, everything else is ready to go. You definitely don't want to saute it until it's mush. So that is all ready to go. So I'm gonna put that to the side real quick. Rough chop, sticky and slippery. So that's why it might be a little bit easier. If you're doing this at home, chop it up really small before you actually do it. It makes your knife slip, so be careful. All right, a little bit more, and then comes the onion rings. Messy. Put that to the side. We're gonna make plant-based mayo here in just a few too, but we'll do that while the onion rings are cooking in the oven. All Let's do that and everything else in there. It's a little bit of sweet, a little bit kind of a, not really spicy, but a little spicy. And I had a big spoon, so I was going to do this. You could put this in the refrigerator, like, so if you did this the night before or the day before, put it in the refrigerator and let it get really nice and cool, or you could actually serve it warm, just like this. So we're going to get probably about room temperature by the time we're said and done. Paste. Get a jalapeno in there. Really good. It's not too sweet, which is really nice. And as far as like the jalapeno, because if you're afraid of the jalapeno, it doesn't have that because I took all the seeds out. So it doesn't have that bite or anything like that. But you've got the onion in there, which really mixes well with the pineapple. And you've got the, the red bell peppers and stuff, which gives a nice crispness, but it's really good. You could even put that over ice cream with everything else in it. All right. That's all done. This is easy if you've got 2 pie pans. If you don't, 2 bowls works just as well. But since I have the pie pans, it's kind of fun to use them every once in a while. So let's stir a little bit. Got my onions, flour, I have plant-based milk, I have my spices. Longer on the tofu. All right, so dry ingredients. You've got 2/3. So we're gonna actually do with the wet ingredients first because I've got it in my hand. So you're gonna do, it's basically 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour, or you could use chickpea, oat flour, whatever flour that you want. I've used all the different ones. They all work. So, and they actually, these onion rings cook up really well and they're crisp, which is nice. So I've got that. And then I've got 2/3 of a cup of the unsweetened plant-based milk. This is just regular soy milk. Whisk. And I'll hold off on that for just a second because once you put the milk in with the flour, it sets up pretty quick. So you're going to want to be able to use it. I took an onion. You could do yellow onions. You could do any kind of ones. I just did a white onion. And this is only 1 onion. So as you can see, the recipe, you'd be making a lot of onion rings and stuff if you do 2. I just did 1 right now because it's more than enough for Jerry and I. Not having all the extras. So I just, cut the ends off of the onion and then just did thin little slices all the way through. Every once in a while, you'll get a piece that's maybe broken, but otherwise, pretty onion rings. So do them as thick as you want, which means you're going to have to bake them a little bit longer. And I would turn down the heat, or do them as thin as you want, and then do the, the 450, and then just get them cooking. All right, so you've got the dry ingredients. So we've got a cup of panko breadcrumbs. If you're gluten-free, of course, they have the gluten-free panko breadcrumbs. You will find, depending on how much battery, and we're just getting the storm, and it's now like pouring down rain here and thundering. So if we hear thunder, you hear like a crash or something, it's thunder. You could also use just regular breadcrumbs, but I like the panko. I like them because they're crispy and stuff, and they take on whatever flavor that you put with them. But if you end up doing like the 2, now it's really pouring down rain. If you end up doing the two full onions because you're like, okay, well, put them in the fridge and then I'll put them in my air fryer the next day and crisp them back up. You're definitely going to use more panko, more of the ingredients, all those kind of things. You're almost like going to double the ingredients. So then we have 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. I put a little bit more in there just because I figured if I have to do it twice, I'll have to grab this paprika, and then 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. So same thing. This is also where you could add the black pepper, salt. I'm glad I brought in my tomato plants because it's windy out there. It's crazy windy. Give it a mix because you want to make sure you get all the spices in there. If you don't like smoked paprika, just use, I've done like onion powder. I've done, a little bit of basil because I wanted a little bit different flavor. So anything that you want, you could add for the spices. Okay. It is pouring down rain, big time. Okay, if it gets thick, grab some more plant-based milk, because that will happen. You wanted a consistency of like batter, like a pancake batter. So depending on the different flours that you have, the flour that you use, it may soak up your plant-based milk. Just add some more. Because you want it enough where it's actually going to cover your onions, but not so much like overpower your onions. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so batter wise, so like I said, just like a pancake batter is really good. All right. Before I do this really quick, let me grab. While it's crispy, we'll keep it. So it's turned nice yellow. Now I'm going to add the barbecue sauce on top. This is where when you have the nice little I'm trying to think even what they're called. It's escaping me.
Brush.
Like the brush. Yeah, thank you. If you have one of those, that would be helpful here. But spoon works just as well without having all the gadgets in the kitchen. Don't use all your barbecue sauce because you're going to want to put a little bit on the sandwich too. A little bit of the spice, like the jalapeno and stuff, coming up. There we go. All right, so let's put that back there for a minute. That only can take a few minutes and stuff where it starts getting all nice and bubbly. Then you know your tofu's ready. All right. Onions. So I usually, if it starts getting thick, just add a plant-based type of liquid on there. So I just grab like a handful. See over the parchment paper there. Flip them over. You just want to make sure they get good and covered because that's what's going to grab your panko. So threw a couple in there. A little bit of barbecue sauce got in my panko. Not going to hurt it. Dip them in the panko. Flip them over. Big one there. Grab some more. Messy, but fun. If you get kids, what a fun thing to do with kids. As long as you have like a drop cloth. That's the only thing I've noticed. It can get everywhere. I kind of make sure if there's too much of the flour wet mixture, just shake it off a little bit. Together there. And you'll find that your panko will sometimes start getting a little clumpy if you end up doing it a lot. So you may end up having to add some more panko and a little bit more spices. That's usually what I do is I'll just grab some more panko and throw it in. But a little bit of the breading goes a long way. So you don't need to have it where it's all clumped up and little pieces in there. So even though it's not rings, the little clumps in the middle parts of the onion, really good. Just a few more, not too much. I'll finish up the rest later. Put little pieces in the middle. Finish this up. Okay, there we go. This is where you could add, if you wanted to add salt to them, you could actually sprinkle them with salt, or you could just wait until the salt's done. Okay, put this off to the side, can use this later. Clean this up. So you're going to put them in a 450-degree oven. So they're actually going to cook really fast. So 450, and you're going to put them for, it says 25 to 30 minutes, but it really just depends on your oven. So I've got a gas oven. So it tends to get really hot really quick. So I just kind of watch them. When they start getting a nice golden brown, then that's when I pull them out, because then your onions are still it's still soft. They're cooked, but they're soft. But they're not like, they don't start like, there was a big thunder. They don't start getting like, they're like really crispy and almost like too hard to bite. So move that one over. There we go. All right. So I'm just gonna do this real quick. There's the onion rings all ready to go. I'll show you when they come out of the oven. So let's get them in the oven. And they are messy. Okay, so that's for later. So you can see I used probably so it was probably a medium-sized onion. So I used half, and that filled up already one tray on my baking sheet. So, if you use one whole onion, you're going to probably get 2 baking sheets full, which not a bad thing. All right, get that over there. Just clean up a little bit because get batter everywhere. So it's like a tofu chip. Really good with the barbecue sauce. Okay. Mayo. This out of the way. Easiest plant-based mayo. I tend to make this probably about once every 2 weeks. So if you put it into like a mason jar with like a plastic lid, so these type of cute little plastic lids that you can get on Amazon, what you find and stuff is the metal, and because if you use the metal lids, it tends to oxidize anything that it touches, and so you find that anything like your mason jars with the metal lids, things don't tend to last as long. Like like I used to put in dressings and things like that, they would definitely get that like oxidation, almost like a mold and stuff around the top. So if you use the plant-based lids, or not the plant-based, but these little plastic lids, these are great. They're probably 12 for under $10 on Amazon. They come in all different colors or white. They actually have a little bit of a rubber ring and they hold everything together. But I will keep my plant-based mayos in there for probably, I have to do a little stir and stuff because of the moisture and stuff, but 3 weeks. And then we just, we do all kinds of, like we just made mock tuna salad yesterday or the day before and stuff. So we have that, Jerry uses on his sandwiches, we'll come back and we'll use it, completely. We'll put some different spices in it and make something different. So we always have plant-based mayo around. So we have the very basic ingredients. So silken tofu. So I show this every time, just in case you need me to show you another one. It's shelf safe. Grabbed it. So instead of using one that's in the refrigerator, unless that's all you can get, if you have any like the Whole Foods, Sprouts, Kroger's and stuff like that doesn't carry it anymore, but anything that's kind of like your natural grocers type of thing, this one, so it's Mori New Silken Tofu, that's really good. You can put it on the shelf and then you just open up the container when you're ready to use it. Very little water, very little moisture. So This one is the silken tofu that we have in there. I always get the extra firm just because I like it how it holds up, but it's ready to go. It sits on the shelf and doesn't take your nice refrigerator space. But if you can't find it anywhere else, you can also order it on Amazon. They're usually anywhere between, they used to be like $1.99 a container, which was very expensive. Now they're like $2.99. So they got all kinds of different types, like extra firm, extra firm, soft, all that kind of stuff. So that's a good one to get. All right, so you just have your silken tofu broken up just a little bit. Dump it your blender or your food processor, or if you don't have either one of those, immersion blender would work too. Or if you don't have any of those, small kitchen, I fully understand. Then you can just get like a whisk and stuff and just use like a whisk to whisk it up. Or even one of those little tiny food processors, which I have in the basement, which is very cute. Then I got, for the plant-based mayo, let me just make sure I get the ingredients for you and tell you how much. So a tablespoon of lemon juice. That's going in. And then you got a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I probably have a little bit more of the Dijon mustard than a tablespoon just because I like the flavor of it. So add that in. But what's really good on this plant-based mayo too is to make up, like using harissa or, all kinds of flavors and stuff. Because especially if we used a harissa one time, and then, which is like a kind of a pepper paste. We use that. And then we also put that in the mock tuna salad. Really good. Made a nice new flavor. So a couple more minutes. We're going to be fine. Okay, so big blender, small amount of ingredients. So I'm just going to go really slow. Otherwise it goes and splatters all over the top. So I just do it really slow. If I had a smaller container and stuff, I would just let it roll. But I want more on the bottom than on the sides. And on the sides. Happens to the best of us. Doesn't take much. And then you have great plant-based mayo. A little bit more. Nice flavor of Dijon, which I like. If you don't like Dijon, don't add as much. But you could also do like a yellow mustard. So if you don't want to, if you're like, I don't want to buy Dijon, it takes too much space in my refrigerator. You could always do the stone ground mustard, which is really good. You could use harissa. You could use just like a yellow mustard, whatever you want to be able to do, just to add a little bit of that flavor for your mayo. Okay. Here. A little kid, which is our Havanese and stuff, thinks it's now, it's about dinner time. She definitely is, whatever you're making, it should be for me. So she's right at my feet. I won't fill it up all the way. I can do it afterwards, but just enough you can make the sandwiches. If you don't want plant-based mayo and you're thinking, okay, just the barbecue sauce and the relish and stuff is more than enough, then leave it out. And you could just do, the mustard or, whatever other things that the flavors and stuff that you want to do. Any other condiments. A little bit more. But nothing better than when you get some good mayo and you do a mock tuna salad. Good. Let's get the tofu out. So like I was mentioning, so since you've got the sugar in there, it starts burning. So if you would have put this on the very beginning and stuff, you would have had a lot of burn marks and a lot more of that. So you just want the flavor to go at the very end. Doesn't take like what 3 or 4 minutes that we were working on it. All right, get this out of the way. Build the sandwich. That's over there. Oh, the crunchy piece, but good. Okay, so mayo, the spices we don't need. Ingredients ready. The bread. Let me put it in the oven really quick. Whatever bread you want to do. This was the only bread that we could find with the baguettes. So I'm just going to put them in the oven right now to get them toasted up. And I'll show you the brand here. The brand, and this is where you have it in town and stuff. So non-GMO, plant-based, vegan, Izio is a great brand. So it used to be like Udi's, but then they moved to a different, he sold that, and then he's got like Izio. So they have all kinds of bread. So like our King Supers or our Kroger's has a whole section that's probably like half the size of this island that has like every single type of bread that they make. So you can get like the whole wheat, you can get the baguettes. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's probably like, I would say 15 different types and stuff of the bread. So this one's a take and bake. So ingredients are, you have, very few ingredients in it. And it's also, he's really good about, so the ingredients on this one, wheat flour, water, sourdough culture, it's got a little bit of sea salt, yeast, and then a malted barley flour. That's it. That's in this. So no oil, all that kind of stuff. So really nice little brand and stuff that we do. We tend to do, like if we do spaghetti one night and decide to do a little bit of bread, they've got a nice one that's like a seeded, whole wheat seeded, which is really good too. So it's Izio Artesian Bakery, which is really good. Okay, get that out of the way. Okay, we've got the mayo. We need avocado. So we talk about these. These are the Avo Savers. These are come from Amazon. I bought them probably 10 years ago, maybe, probably now, but they're really good. You just put, you can see here, you just put the side and stuff that has the pit and you put it on there. And then this one is 2 days old. That's what it looks like. Really nice. All right, so we're gonna make sure it doesn't go down the sink. We're gonna do some slices. You could also do diced. A little bit of, there we go. Ooh, onion rings are doing really well, really fast. All right, so just do some nice little slices. Ah, already. Do a nice toast on the bread, but I don't want to do too much of a toast because if I do too much of a toast, then it's almost like trying to chew it. So I want it enough where it's warmed up, crunchy. Go. And all right, we're going to put it, when we make it, we're going to put it on this cute little dish. The onion rings are going to come out too. So I just did this little, the little green and white sandwich paper. It's just on a regular white dish here. I have a little bit of ketchup on the side, so I'm going to put the sandwich over here and the onion rings over here. And guess who is going to think this is his plate? All right, so we got it on there. So we're going to do the plant-based mayo. So let's grab a knife. It's going to be nice because you're going to get a little bit of that Dijon going to be in there. piece there. Don't want that. All right, got the tofu. Couple more minutes. And kind of double it up. Okay. Everything's messy. All right. Oops. Pull this off to the side so I don't get water all over it. All right, kid, I see ya. Okay, so we have this. You could also, if you wanted to, you could do some slaw. So you could do like a cabbage slaw, you could do some red cabbage, you could do lettuce, you could do all those kind of different things. But since we have the pineapple relish, that's what we're going to do. So no questions. I've explained everything that well. In between my stumbling on words. All right, that's that. Not very warm anymore. We'll pull it off to the side. Another one here in a minute. Okay, then we're going to do avocado. You don't have to do avocado. This would be, like I said, this would be a great one to do. Like a cabbage slaw would be really fun. And then my last but not least, grabbing these out. All right, let me grab the paper because everything's sliding. There is plant-based onion rings. Ready to go, nice and soft, but not where they're like they're so dried out and stuff that they're hard to eat. I'm gonna put these here. So I'm gonna grab them here in a second. Have this, last but not least, microgreen sprouts. Always beautiful, always good for the gut. If you don't like microgreens, you don't like sprouts, leave them out. Barbecue sauce. Up. And then I had a knife, serrated knife, but let me grab another one. Okay. Now, this is where you could put a couple of toothpicks in it to hold it together, which we have. So I'll do that really quick just to. That's side. Okay. Yummy. One goes down. Some more of the pineapple. Goes up like that. I see you, kid. Here we go. So guess what time it is? Jerry's like, dinner, dinner, dinner. All right, let me put this off to the side because otherwise I will lean over it. Here's a piece of an onion ring. Soft, crunchy. Can't be better for onion rings. Okay. So get down with that. There is our dinner tonight. Barbecue tofu sandwiches. It has a pineapple relish, which is like it's a little bit sweet, got a little bit of a kick, but not much. But the barbecue sauce has a little bit of kick too. Has the plant-based mayo and the easy bread, which is all ready to go. And the tofu is all barbecued. And these are our plant-based onion rings. It has a little bit of smoked paprika and a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of black pepper. And then of course, ketchup on the side, or, if you like A1, you like, Heinz 57, you like, just a mustard sauce, honey mustard, whatever is your favorite. That's what you can put on the side. So this is, as they always say, whoop, 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 whoop. Guess what time it is? It's dinner time. And I have a feeling there won't be any of this left and stuff once this gets put in front of Jerry. Yep. And you saw, he's not very big and stuff, but he eats a lot, a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Next week on Friday is the show with Chef AJ. So we're going to do meatball subs, and we're going to do the millet granola and stuff that I've always told her about. We're going to make that into a parfait. So that'll be fun right before the 4th of July, because it is right before, so it's on the 28th. So hope to see you guys on there. Hope to teach you some more things. Always ask questions. If you change anything up and you change up the recipe, always let me know. I always love to hear what you guys do, because we're all about community and sharing and all those type of things. So hope this looks good. Hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you probably next week. All right. Well, have a great rest of your night. Love you guys. Bye.
Thanks. Nice.
Bye-bye.